What's up, my friends? Welcome to this live stream, my friends. This is the Health Breakdown, episode number 29. And again, my friends, we are going to go ahead and review some videos, get some perspective, and hopefully pull some truth and wisdom from these videos in order to help us to optimize our health and our wellness naturally and to maximize our energy and our longevity. So, my friends, appreciate you tuning in. It's been a little bit overcast here down here in Florida. We are feeling the effects of some hurricanes out in the Atlantic Ocean, but hopefully, things will kind of clear up here a bit. But my friends, let's get into it right out of the gate.
French fries are tasty, but are they worth it? Let me tell you the journey from the potato to the McDonald's store. First of all, they start off with a particular kind of potato called the russet Burbank. That particular variety of potato is very susceptible to predation by insects and by fungi. So they have to spray it with extra pesticides and fungicides and ones that aren't commonly used because they are known carcinogens. For instance, chlorothalonil is a cancer-causing fungicide that McDonald's uses. Mancozeb has been shown to poison your thyroid, and diquat is a herbicide that has been banned for years in Europe. They use glyphosate, and then they're gassed with chlorprofam to prevent sprouting, and then they have a solution they're dunked in that has sodium acid pyrophosphate, which is linked to kidney disease and coronary artery disease, and we're not done yet. They add extra ingredients like sodium silicoaluminate, which has been linked to Alzheimer's disease, and they use anti-caking agents and unnatural beef flavoring, and they use 3 GMO modified seed oils: canola, soybean, and corn. Is all of that worth enjoying the taste of a McDonald's fry?
Well, geez. What happened to the potatoes, salt, and oil, right? What happened to just a simple fry, simple potato? My friends, I know that none of us are really aware of all of the ingredients or things that they use in the preparation of our food at some of these fast food restaurants. But man, I suggest that you dig a little bit deeper. Is that, $1, $2, $3 fry really worth that? I know that none of us are aware of that's, what we're bargaining for with a simple French fry. But knowing all that, I would never eat another McDonald's French fry again in my life. But, just in general, you want to be aware of what's in your food, what they're using to cook it or cook it in or prepare it, or, what that growing process looks like as well. Our friends, don't settle for anything less than organic if you can, but be sure to, again, dig deep on what it is that they're using to prepare or make or grow your foods in, because that just doesn't have anything healthy written all over it at all. But our next one here is super interesting, actually, my friends.
About Ozempic, have you heard about the lawsuits, the class action lawsuits that are exploding across the country? 1,800 people so far that have taken that toxic poison are now permanently blind. That's one of the side effects of this drug, and they're not pulling it off the market. Lawsuits have skyrocketed to over $2 billion thus far. And what is the drug maker doing about it? Are they upping the warning labels? Are they telling people about this, blowing the whistle on it so people can have an informed choice? No, they're paying people to bury this information. They're filing counter lawsuits against people coming after them. They're trying to bury the truth, just like cigarette makers do, just like all the pharmaceutical companies do when they put out their poison to the public. They don't give a damn about you and your health. They don't care about you losing weight. They care about profits, and they don't care how many people's lives they destroy in the process of getting those profits. Take a look at these slides, and you'll be shocked at what's going on.
1,800 people. That's crazy.
So, I hear you guys. I know you want to lose weight, but this ain't the way to do it. Anything that comes from the pharmaceutical industry is poison. Period. End of story. There are natural remedies for everything. Plant-based medicine, holistic medicine. These are the things that you need to be pursuing. The things that cured the planet for tens of thousands of years before Rockefeller came in and got a hold of all of the universities and medical schools and changed it from a plant-based medical system that actually cured people to a petroleum base that did nothing but poison you, create side effects, and mask the symptoms so you don't know that you're being killed slowly.
Yeah, my friends, that is actually crazy. And that's pretty new. This is recent that there have been these lawsuits against Ozempic or Novo Nordisk, the maker of Ozempic. But I know that none of us were aware of that before taking it. And that's the difficult part where, again, these pharmaceutical companies get these results from their trials or their testing, but they don't show these things. They don't demonstrate these things. But this is the thing, my friends, is that I believe anybody who's looking to lose weight can do it with diet, exercise, and sleep. And I will stand by that until my final moments. We don't need these things, right? These drugs that have such incredible damaging side effects that most times they're not even spoken about. Catherine, I did not take Ozempic. No, absolutely not. And Rona, I did eat some of that junk food as a kid, but a lot of the ingredients that were used 10, 20, 30 years ago are not the same ingredients that are being used right now, as we can see. That's not how a McDonald's fry started, right? And no, Catherine, I would never take Ozempic at all. It's damaging. It's damaging. And you're seeing that. And now there's actually lawsuits. And again, not good, my friends. Do not trust the pharmaceutical industry. Don't. There's no reason to. Okay? Very, very straightforward. There's natural remedies, diet, exercise, sleep. Get those in check first before we start looking outside of natural things. And again, these pharmaceutical companies are convicted felons. They've been convicted of felonies. Why are we trusting them? Just my 2 cents, my friends. We'll go here.
Typical of death related to a vaccine. The data supporting this actual event is immense. They were twins. They died on the same day. How can you possibly explain that? This is not new. The fact that twins die on the same night has been reported repeatedly and always in temporal associations with vaccines. But there's one paper where by Bass et al., and in there there's a statement that says, the likelihood of twin infants dying suddenly and simultaneously of SIDS, a natural disorder, defies credibility, meaning this isn't SIDS. This is a vaccine-induced death. And this has been described repeatedly. And so although we use the term SIDS, we should call it for what it is. I mean, this is a death related to the vaccine. The way they described the kids on day 2 when they brought them to the ER, they said the kids were limp, the pot belly of that, the cute pot belly of the infant, they looked flat, they were listless, they couldn't move. And when they called their parents, for help, because like you said, it's a 21-year-old mother, she FaceTimed her mom, and her mom looked at her and said, those kids look like they're dying. And that's why they went to the ER. And the father even said that. He said, I never could have imagined 2 healthy, beautiful babies suddenly looking like they're dying within 24 hours. And so there's not a lot of confusion around this case. And to hear that it's, that they're still under scrutiny or under suspicion, like Angela said, is absolutely absurd. This is as common as the day is long.
My friends, that twins dying on the same day, like that is just outrageous, my friends. What are the odds of that? They're non-existent. That 2 young boys, twins, would die on the same day, the same time. Direct link, direct cause, vaccines. And it's sad. It's sad. And again, my friends, we have to be aware of these things. We have to be aware of these things. I'm going to bring into another one here as well.
2019, I was pro-vax. My children were vaccinated. I now know what I did to my children. So when I say this as a parent who did this. Now, my kids are not autistic. They don't have major allergies. It was a matter of luck, okay? What I did to my children was wrong. I didn't know. I believed it. I did it with the best of intention. I tried to help my kids. I tried to keep them safe. My children were vaccinated. After 2020, when I found out what was going on, not a single other jab will ever touch their arm. But up until 2020, I didn't know. And so my children were exposed to these things. So when I talk to moms and dads out there, I want you to understand I'm not a historic anti-vaxxer. I was as pro-vax as you can be up until 2020. And so I want to tell you, all the guilt, all the pain, listen, it's real. We were lied to. We were bamboozled. We were defrauded. This stuff was never safe. I've looked since, right? I've done my homework. There were no gold standard studies on any vaccines. None of the vaccines were properly studied. The links between vaccines and autism were based on false studies where they drew false conclusions. Everything about the vaccine industry, the science around it, is fraudulent. Everything. I will go to court. I will fight that anywhere you want to fight it, and I'll debate anybody that wants to debate on it. There is no valid science backing the vaccine industry. The stuff that's out there is crap based on more crap. And from beginning to end, I mean, going back to even polio, even the polio vaccine, the studies related to that were garbage. MMR, a nightmare. All of these vaccines that are out there, it was all based on garbage. And, I do think parents like me, I don't know what the long-term impact on my children are. My children were vaccinated with these poisons that they should never have had put in their body. There was no good justification, no science. I believed it. I was lied to. So I want everybody to understand something. When I say, yeah, you shouldn't have did that, neither should I. Neither should I.
Yeah, my friends. I think that the age of information that we're in right now, and especially the pandemic moment, really was a great awakening. It was a great awakening, especially for a lot of doctors that never even, thought twice about questioning vaccines or the data behind it or the studies or the info that was brought forth. Never questioned it. Took it for gold, took it for, hey, we're good to go. There's nothing to see here. Get your vaccines. This is what you need. And again, there are so many folks right now, and I'm proud. I'm proud of the people that are questioning the things that we assume to be true. You have to dig deep. You have to dig deep, and you can't just assume truth. At the end of the day, my friends, it could cost you your life, literally. And when we get into that dynamic, that's where you really need to, again, just not assume that everything that you've been told is factual or true. And I think that that's a very powerful video there from that individual who, did a complete 180.
Iowa is the highest cancer rates in the country. So there's 212 countries that measure cancer rates. We have the highest in the world. Iowa is actually the highest rates of cancer of any place in the world in the history of human civilization.
Okay, so my non-medical guess is that it's in the middle of farming country and pesticides, and
it might be. We spend 40 times more as a country on treatments for cancer rather than studying how to prevent cancer in the first place. We're totally off base. Of course, they're both important, but we're just so slanted towards that intervention side. I mean, we spend $400 billion a year in cancer management, and cancer rates are going up. I mean, what's this environment that's creating all this cancer?
Yeah, my friends, that is crazy, actually. I did not know that Iowa has the highest cancer rates in the world. That's insane. And USA is number one as far as the country. So again, that gets back to the whole genetic dynamic. Oh, it's genetics. It's your genes. You're born with it. That couldn't be more false at the end of the day. Where you live, what does that say, right? It's a geographical location. But what about the environment? what about the environment within that geographical location that sets you up for a higher rate of cancer, right? Doesn't have anything to do with the sun, right? It has everything to do with your environment and your lifestyle. What are you consuming? What are you bringing into your body? What kind of hormone disrupting, cancer causing toxins, chemicals, pesticides are you around? We saw the golf course study that was done. That just blares out at me like, wow, okay, this is obvious. And again, it doesn't have to be obvious to everyone, but to me, that stands out. That video right there, the highest cancer in the world is in Iowa. That's all right. Something's up with the environment. Now, maybe that also has to do with water, right? But okay. What else is going on? Well, again, there's a lot of pesticides being sprayed in that area due to farming. It's interesting. It's interesting to me. All right. We'll keep going here, my friends.
10, how valuable is saunas for helping heart health?
So I am a huge believer in sauna therapy. Now, all of the data has been done in traditional Finnish saunas. I don't have a problem with the other alternatives,
Infrared or whatever, yeah.
with the infrared type saunas, and there's some other ones out there. But if we're going to talk about the data, the numbers are dramatic. That if you are utilizing sauna 4 to 5 times a week, sessions of 11 to 12 minutes each, that 11-minute mark seems to be important. Somewhere over 175 to 180 degrees Fahrenheit, your decrease in cardiovascular events is greater than 50%.
Wow.
And all-cause mortality is in that same level as well. In addition, now the neurocognitive benefits of sauna are starting to come out as far as being protective from Alzheimer's, dementia, what have you.
My friends, the sauna dynamic has really, been brought forth to me and has really been on my radar lately. But again, I'm not super clear on the amount of time that should be spent within the sauna. I personally enjoyed 25 to 30 minutes. I feel like if you can at least hit 20, you're really good to go. His data is saying at least 11 minutes. I really think you need at least 20 minutes though. But regardless, the benefits of the sauna, again, in regards to heart health, are profound. Again, you're basically gearing yourself up like it's a little mini workout. Okay, that's essentially what's happening to the body. Is it's gearing up like it's a little mini workout, and there are many benefits to that. But what I believe is the greatest benefit of the sauna is the ability to sweat. All right, and he talks about the Alzheimer, dementia dynamic. To me, I believe it is because we are able to sweat, right, and eliminate those toxins, those heavy metals that are unable to pass down through the entire upper part of the body into the kidneys and then out. So when you're able to sweat these toxins out almost from where they are through the skin, to me, that does a better job at the end of the day. But again, I think the sweating dynamic of what saunas, create for the human being is the real win. And so again, you look at the Finnish folks in Finland, but they have dry saunas, which to me are the best. That's the best sauna. And then they also apply hot and cold therapy. So most people in Finland have a sauna. And again, what they'll do is they will go into the sauna and then they'll go into the lake afterwards. So when they're done that heat therapy, they'll go into the lake, which is colder, and they'll have that cold therapy. So again, that hot cold dynamic is tremendous for the body. But again, to me, my friends, the true benefit of the sauna is the sweating dynamic. But there are also multiple benefits of getting a sauna. So again, use that sauna. I like to do it 3 to 4 times a week. again, for about 25 to 30 minutes, at least 20 minutes. But again, continue to do your research, continue to dig deep, but get in the sauna when you can, my friends. Only good things come from it. Okay. We'll go right here.
Today we are going to fast for about 36 hours.
What? Come on, Brain, have you gone mad? Nobody can handle that.
Sure, you can handle it. You'll see. Don't worry, you will thank me later. We'll be just fine, stomach. We still have a lot of glucose from the last meal, you see.
And the brain will probably cancel everything when the hunger appears. I really hope so, intestines. A day and a half without food is too freaking long, man.
6 hours.
All right, Pips. We ran out of all the glucose. Now things can get ugly.
Nobody freak out. I got a reserve of glycogen here that I saved.
Me too, bro. Look, we can run on this for a bit longer. How's the boss doing? Same old, same old.
Doesn't look like he's changing his mind. Oh my god, look over there. Hunger is already creeping. Jesus Christ, I just want to be done with this nonsense. 12 hours.
Now is the time to freak out. I just ran out of glycogen.
I'm afraid me too, brother.
Yo, Bustle! That is the pituitary gland.
I'ma send you a bit of growth hormone so you last a little bit longer.
Oh my god, this guy's so nice. Thank you, P2!
Pancreas, help me get ketones from all this fat to produce energy.
So you're asking me for glucagon?
That's correct, my boy.
Say no more. Here you have it.
Lovely, lovely ketones.
Look, hunger is leaving. Maybe he doesn't like those ketones.
20 hours.
Oh my lord, I've never been so tired. Rain, on the other hand, looks as fresh as ever. I really don't understand it. What the hell is that supposed to be? Ouch! What's up with the tingling?
Oh my god, we finally have time to fix this cell.
This thing is broken, this is a toxic protein, and this microbe, a la poubelle.
Yes, that's much better.
Wow! I'm being repaired from the inside. This is wonderful.
36 hours. Well, the boss was right. This is amazing. Bring on that sweet reset, bro.
I didn't know how bad I was before. The best thing that happened to me this decade.
Congratulations, everybody. I told you we could do it, and here we are. And now to celebrate, let's have a feast.
What?
Go!
My friends, I thought that was actually pretty cool. I thought that was pretty funny too. But so some of you may know, but my wife just did a 3.5 day fast. So about 84. I think it was actually over a 90-hour fast, water fast. Okay. So again, my friends, fasting, right? We talk about this all the time. Straightforward. It's giving your body, okay, the ability to not spend energy breaking down food. And that autophagy in English, is where, again, the body's self-healing mechanism, but it's cleaning out. It's cleaning out the waste. It's cleaning, it's repairing, and it's promoting the elimination of the waste. So again, a fast is giving your body a break from, again, breaking down food, absorbing, utilizing, and expending that waste. So when you have the energetic reserves, right, not being spent here, well, where else is it going to go? It's going to go over here to do what it needs to do. So again, cleaning, repairing, and promoting elimination. Fasting, my friends, is such an amazing dynamic, especially if you're having gut issues, especially if you're having any GI tract issues. Again, highly suggest that you work with a fast. Doesn't need to be 36 hours, but a good old 3-day water fast, even a 1-day water fast. You're going to see a lot of tremendous benefits, my friend, but start to work with fasting. Again, even if it's only intermittent fasting, even if you're only fasting for 16 hours a day, right? 16-hour fasting period, 8-hour eating period. That's what I do. It's what I do every day. It's what I've done for the last 15 years. It's changed my life. The first day that I fasted, it changed my life. I've never gone back. I've never stopped doing it because of the way it makes me feel. So again, continue to do your research, dig deep on fasting, my friends. But man, if you are not incorporating fasting into your regular daily routine, highly suggest that you do, my friends. Unbelievable. Pop in here for another one.
Microbiome of at least Americans, based on that study, is absolutely being destroyed. 1 in 4 kids have no bifidobacteria, which is an essential bacterial strain that kids are supposed to be born with, supposed to be colonized in their gut, is critical for immune development, is basically critical for healthy development. you want that strain is literally disappearing. And so why, there's multiple factors here. We know antibiotic use is good, very high. It's been high, since those have come out, and that destroys everything, right? All the bacteria in your body. So that's obviously a key factor. But then you have hyper-vaccination. Over the past few decades, we have going from like 7 doses to, like I said, like about 90 doses. That is definitely going to affect gut health and composition. And then you have so many other things, C-sections, right? That avoids installing certain bacterial strains that they would have got out of the vaginal canal. So you have so many different factors, but and last thing is pesticides, very important. Actually, a recent study just found in America 47 different pesticides are found in U.S. homes, in the dust, in the water, in people's urine. It's everywhere, these toxic pesticides. So that's another huge thing as well. So basically, in America, we're being bombarded with toxins on the daily.
Again, my friends, bombarded by toxins on the daily. This is why we have the highest cancer rates in the world. Right? Not genetics. Genetics are, as we'll see here, slightly involved, right? But what this man said, again, McCullough Foundation, is spot on in my opinion. Again, the antibiotics are going to wipe out all of the bacteria and microbiome, both good, both bad, just complete annihilation. Vaccinations don't help in any way, shape, or form. And then the last part there that he mentioned is the pesticides, the chemicals, the toxins. So there's a thing that I heard, I don't know where I heard it from, but it stood out to me. And it was essentially, is it the gluten or the glyphosate that is causing the issues in your gut? And to me, I think it's the glyphosate, but it, again, for a while, we were very focused on the gluten, and gluten, don't get me wrong, is not tremendously beneficial, but is that really what's causing all of the gut issues? I personally don't believe it is. I believe it's the glyphosate, and most gluten has glyphosate in it. So again, the gut microbiome is such an integral part of human health, especially for, mental health, emotional health. But it's, again, the body is a food processor. So we are designed to process food, right? That's how we get our energy. So if that whole foundational piece is being poisoned, we're going to have a lot of issues. But the fact that children, I got to go back to that because I forget the number there. 24. Let's see. Hold on.
Of at least Americans, based on that study, is absolutely
1 in 4 infants. So 1 in 4 infants is lacking a very important gut bacteria. And so, again, my friends, the toxins just seem to, in every single aspect here of what we talk about, they just continue to pop up right in front of our face, letting us know that they're causing extreme damage and havoc. But again, eat good food, and then the gut seats itself, right? That bacteria is going to seat itself based off what you bring into the body. So bring in good food, and you'll have the proper gut microbiome that you need at the end of the day. So, my friends, this one here is a good one. So let's go ahead and get into this one.
There is a different way of looking at health, and I think a lot of Americans are catching on to that. I mean, simple thing. I'll take a good example that I said, and they were always dragging me online when I would talk about the sun. Like, the sun is not your enemy. We demonize things.
That's right.
And it was like, Bill, what do you want people to get skin cancer? No, I don't. I'm just saying we're solar creatures, and we need some sun. And this is a big point of yours, right? The
Absolutely.
sun.
I mean, it is true you want to avoid excessive UV exposure, so that's typically in the middle of the day when the sun is overhead. However, one of the very best things you can do for your sleep, your mood, your wakefulness, for your mitochondria. We always hear about the powerhouse of the cell, mitochondria, metabolic health, and all that, is as soon as possible after waking up, get outside, take off your sunglasses, eyeglasses and contacts are fine. Look in the direction of the sun. Obviously, don't force yourself to do it. Blink as you need to protect your eyes. You have a natural reflex that will protect your eyes. But that sets off a circuit. You know, lining the back of your eyes are some neurons. Your eyes are part of your brain. People don't realize this, but these two things, part of your brain, outside the skull, that viewing of the sun communicates to your brain's central clock, causes an increase in all sorts of hormones that are great for wakefulness in the morning. It literally wakes you up. It sets a wavefront of wakefulness for mood, focus, all the things people want throughout the day. And most importantly, it sets a timer so that shortly after sundown, your body starts to release something called melatonin. Most people have heard about it as a supplement, but you make it naturally. And that's what makes you feel sleepy and fall asleep. Viewing sunlight, I would put right up there next to exercise, like getting your steps in, you know, cardiovascular exercise, resistance training, and nutrition as one of the foundations of mental health and physical health. When you view sunlight in the morning, and it's also good to do it in the evening if you can, just for a couple of minutes, when you do that, you're getting very little UV exposure, so you don't have to be worried about damage to your eyes, damage to your skin, skin cancers, and so forth. Because when the sun's low in the sky, there's a filtering that happens in the atmosphere. We don't have to go into the details. But it is so important. And when you get sunlight in your eyes like that, what you'll notice is, okay, sure, you can drink your caffeine, you should hydrate, do all those things, but you'll have more energy. After about 2 or 3 days, people notice a significant increase in their energy. It also sets in motion a bunch of things related to your immune system. And we can actually say that if you're concerned about longevity, mental health, physical health, that morning sunlight viewing is really the anchor to all of it. And I'm not, excuse me, sorry, I didn't mean to go on, but just one final point is that it's very important that people understand that if you miss a day or if it's overcast, the sun, when it's overcast, is still out. People always say, there's no sun where I live. I wake up before the sun comes out. Well, unless you have powers I'm not aware of, you still have to wait like everyone else. But go outside. And so people say, oh, there's no sunlight here. Well, compare 8 a.m. in the middle of winter on an overcast day to midnight the night before. There's sun. What you need are these photons that are coming through. Forgive me.
No, you're here to talk about your stuff. All right.
Friends, that is powerful. I have a lot of respect for Andrew Huberman, and he is spot on all the way through. Again, this is exactly what we talk about here and the things that we state almost every time. But that morning sunlight is essential. Essential. Get out into the sun within 30 minutes of waking up. Get out into the sun, get that nourishment, get that energy, get that melatonin, and allow the circadian rhythm to be connected, right? Be proper. And again, all the way through, my friends, all the way through. He talks about the morning sunlight, talks about the evening sunlight. Get out and get sun. Talks about being out in the clouds, cloudy sun, right? Sun where there's clouds. Get out into the sun, my friends. You need vitamin D. You need it. You need the biophotons. You need the UV rays. You need the energy. You need everything you can possibly get from the sun. And the morning sunlight is so crucial. It is so crucial. It is a backbone, essentially, to your health, mental, physical, emotional. And again, he talks about exercise, sleep. The sunlight is so beneficial for your sleep. You know, sleep is not necessarily what you do when you lay your head down on the pillow. It's about what you've done all day, right? What you've done from the very moment that you wake up. So that was to me, that was phenomenal detail and info from Andrew Huberman. And again, I really respect him and like him. I think he's on point with almost every single thing that he says.
3% it's been determined of our health issues are not genetic. They're from our collective environment. It's everything that we're exposed to. It's what we eat, it's movement, it's sleep, it's stress, it's our gut microbiome, it's environmental toxins, it's our thoughts. Our thoughts actually transform our biology. It's the biggest pharmacy is between your ears. And so all those things you have control over, which is what's so exciting to me.
Again, Hyman, I respect Hyman. I don't necessarily agree with everything that he says, but in that clip, I agree with every single thing that he says. This whole genetic It's the genes, it's genetics. This disease, that disease is genetics. To me, that's victim mentality. That's exactly where, the allopathic community and pharmaceutical community want us to be. They want us to believe that these things are just, I don't know where they come from. No idea how this happens. Completely outside of my control. No matter what I do, it's not going to help. That is false. That is completely false. All the things like sleep, sunlight, nature, diet, exercise, your thoughts, environmental toxins, all of that actually has a major effect in the results of your health. And this is where we need to get back to. Think about the most fundamental way that you could live that could support your health. And this is what we're talking about, right? We have to remove the toxins from our food and our home and in our products that we use. We have to get out into the sunlight. We have to have proper sleep, got to have movement, got to have exercise. And again, what you tell yourself, my friends, that there's, again, been studies, and I think we cover them here on our live stream, but where the doctors have given the patient a death sentence. Hey, you have 3 months to live. Hey, you have 6 months to live. Hey, you have 2 weeks to live. And they did a study on this, and some of those were false. Yet those people died almost exactly to the day that they were told that they had to live. So somebody doesn't misdiagnosis, not even truly had the disease, but the doctor said, hey, you have this is all you have to live. And boom, they said, okay, oh shit, I'm screwed. I'm done. This is it. And they told themselves that. The power of your mind, my friends, is incredible. And so tell yourself that your genetics are part of the game, but everything you do influences your genetics. Everything you do expresses that genetic output in a certain way. Are you improving that genetic output, or are you declining that genetic output? Again, so many studies that have been done, my friends, that demonstrate that. But if there's only one thing that you learn from this today, is that your genetics are such a small piece of this puzzle. And what it is that you do every day expresses those genes in a positive or a negative way. So choose positive inputs. Choose consistent positive inputs when it comes to your health. Sleep, sunlight, diet and nutrition, exercise, stress management, toxins around you, what you tell yourself, and you'd be surprised at what you can do. My friends, we were meant to be healthy. We were meant to not be sick. And as soon as we can change that perspective, better off all of us are as humans. So again, my friends, hopefully this brought you value. Hopefully you learned a few things, and hopefully you can apply them to your life when it comes to your health and wellness. But again, my friends, I'll be back here at some point this week. Love you. I appreciate you. I'll talk to you soon.